All right, everybody. So let me just get situated here. I said I was not going to go live on, I said I wasn't going to go live on Instagram, but why not? Why not spread relationship mastery around all platforms? So I may be looking here, I may be looking at my camera, I may be looking at Instagram Live. So I want to go ahead and get started. We're getting started a little bit later than normal because I wanted to make sure that I was able and had the opportunity to kind of go over um, all of the platforms so everybody has access. So I promised that I would not go live on all platforms, but the good thing is Facebook has the ability to see my PowerPoint. So for those of you that are joining on my Instagram Live, hello. You won't be able to see my PowerPoint, but please send me a DM if you do join the live on Instagram so that I have the ability to go back and send you the email replay. At least you get the content of it so you can see the PowerPoint, because it's so important to see the PowerPoint because there's so much great information on there. So for those of you that are joining me on Facebook, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so excited to have you. For those who don't know me, my name is Jasmine Cruz. I am the relationship guru. I am the relationship coach, and I teach people how to make their relationships their biggest flex. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. So for those who are joining me on Facebook, please send me a message, a private message, a DM, a PM, a MM, whatever it's called, so that you have the ability to also get an email replay, because I know that you guys have access to the PowerPoint, which is amazing. I think it's very important to kind of go through the slides or go back and watch the masterclass again so that you have the ability to really hone in on what applies to you and what your relationship needs are for your relationship immediately, whatever relationship that might be. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. So welcome to our live masterclass, Relationship Mastery. Again, I am the relationship expert, and I am going to dive into 3 key elements that I feel are important that are out of my framework. So I have a framework called the Lovetank Method. And tonight, we're not going to go through all of those methods this evening, because that's the importance of going through relationship intelligence. But tonight, we're going to touch on 3 so that you have the ability to literally take away something that you can use tomorrow or tonight, even depending on how you're feeling. So relationship mastery is really just going over, again, the key elements and understanding that you have the ability to master your relationships. There is no difference between you and somebody else. You have the same capability as anybody out there. So oftentimes what happens is we start seeing a lot of things on social media. We see other relationships and we're looking at them and we're like, why not me? I want that to be me. But what happens is what you see on social media, people are only showing you the good elements of their life. They're only going to show you the positive things that they do. Most of the time, when you're seeing these content creators, they're only showing you their funny, what is that called? They're showing their, oh, I can't think of it. I was just watching it. They're showing you like everything that everybody else, like, what is that called? Somebody help me. Um, they're not trends. They're not tricks. What are they? Um, Pranks. Thank you, Jesus. Pranks. So you're seeing pranks, you're seeing trends, you're seeing all of this content that everybody else is doing. And what happens is You start, oh, their relationship looks so good. Their relationship is great. I want to know what they're doing in their relationship. Well, that's great and all, but the issue is everybody's dynamic is different. What people do in their relationships is always going to be different from what you're going to be doing in yours. And so that's why I feel like it's so important to remember a strategy so that whatever comes your way with being relationally intelligent, you have the ability to negate or navigate your relationships. So, welcome to the relationship mastery training. I kind of want to go over some ground rules for those who are in the Zoom. For housekeeping tonight, please, you can't turn off your phones because you're probably watching me on your phone. But if you have any children, go ahead and just let them know, mommy or daddy, you have a little bit of a training on hand, and attend to them if you need to, but just make sure that you are all in. Get a pen and some paper so that you can write some notes down from tonight's training. One thing I want to bring up is that all things are possible when you believe. You have the capability of really allowing yourself the possibilities are endless. They really are. And relationally, I absolutely believe that. When we are trying to navigate who we are and who we're becoming, and there's so much trauma or baggage, what happens is you don't think that the possibilities are endless. You think that it'll never happen to me. You think that, why me? But I'm here to tell you tonight, whatever relationship dynamic that you are currently struggling with, the possibilities are endless. And if you said it, we believe it, says Maverick City, and that is the key. So you're in the right place if you are trying to rebuild your relationship foundation. Now, for those who have been following me for a while, know that I am someone that will, those people that play songs over and over and will play out a song? I am the coach that will keep repeating herself over and over until you get it. Listen, rebuilding your foundation can be daunting, but I am telling you, in order to have a successful relationship, you absolutely need to lay down a sturdy foundation. There is no relationship that can sustain shaky ground. Now, if the foundation is not where you would like it to be, it's fine. You can rebuild. And we have to get out of this space of thinking that we cannot change or shift too much because of what other people are going to think about the change and shift that we make. We have to absolutely just really allow ourselves to get rid of that energy around thinking that you cannot change. You can change anything. Right now, it's 2024. I just recently spoke at a vision board event, and I've done vision boards for a very long time. I was a manager at Nordstrom. I was a trainer at Verizon Wireless, and I thrived off of making sure that my employees or my friends or people around me always did vision boards, right? And I'm beginning to realize how important it is for me to remember my why behind the vision. I always like to tell this story about myself and why I started to think about rebuilding the foundation. When I wanted to be at my major airline, I'm a flight attendant by trade. When I wanted to start this job, all I put was the name of the company on the board. And I was sitting at Verizon Wireless and I was working there. And I loved training. I loved being a transition coach. I loved coaching people. I loved doing trainings. I absolutely loved that environment. But I wanted to be a flight attendant. And what happened is I'm putting all these visions, I'm, praying and trying to be intentional with my manifestations. And I just put the name of the company. I did. I literally just put the name of the company and that's what I got. I was slanging bags below wing in 2019 and it didn't happen immediately. I worked for Verizon Wireless from 2008 to 2017, if I'm not mistaken, 2016, maybe 2016, 2017, 2016, it didn't even matter. But in 2014, 15, I started to want to change my career. Mind you, I always wanted to be a flight attendant, but I started to want to change my career. And I just put the name of the company. And that is what I got. So now what I understand that there is so much power in one, rebuilding your foundation, because that's okay. But it has to be sturdy in order for you to even think about manifesting things. Secondly, you're in the right place if you are tired of lacking relationship intelligence. If that is you, put a 1 in the chat because I know you're tired. You're wanting to know the how to. How do I, Jasmine, how do I become relationally intelligent? That is the common question. What does that mean? How do I do that? What does that look like for me? And the third is if you're ready for a deeper, even deeper connection. You want to create meaningful connections by incorporating healing strategies to prioritize your overall aspect of a healthy relationship. Because it's not just about working out and looking good. It's not just about making sure your skin is clear. It's not just about what you put in your body. It's not about getting your nails done because that's considered self-help. It's everything. You need to go deep. It's time to get deep. You want to be able to raise your son, your daughter, and you want to be able to teach them relationship intelligence. It is time to heal properly and get the strategies that you need to prioritize having a healthy relationship. So tonight, what you're going to learn is how to master yourself. First things first, it's becoming comfortable with shifting some things, tackling some things in your relationship, being authentic, being honest about what you need to tackle. You will learn 3 proven strategies: the art of communication, how to live from a full tank, meaning a full love tank, and overcoming your childhood traumas. That may be too deep for you tonight, but listen, honey, I need to make sure people are literally getting this work, because what's happening is our relationships are under attack. Our relationships are under attack. And it is time that we take back what is ours and we focus on what's important. And relationships are one of those things that often get forgotten about, because it's not about how good you think you're doing with your children. It's not about how good you think your relationship is with your parents. It's not about how good or how long you've been in a relationship with your spouse. It's about making sure that you are able to bring to the table a healed energy so that you can sustain a healthy relationship and be relationally intelligent. And the third thing that you're going to take away tonight is how to master your relationships. I want you to be able to shift your mindset and shift your life ultimately. Because once I can get you to understand that there is power in shifting your mindset, there is power in praying over the process and your progress, then your life, it's endless possibilities for you. Okay. So for those who are joining me on Instagram and Facebook, please send me a private message, because if you stay until the end of this presentation, I do have a treat for you. I have a 20+ page free workbook, playbook called The Power of Conversation. I want to honor you, and I want to give you something that you have tangibly to kind of jot down some things as it relates to communication and conversation. And that's exactly what we're going to be diving into tonight. Again, my name is Jasmine Cruz. I am the founder of Lovetank. Yes, we're just getting started. I am the founder of Lovetank. I spent years upon years studying relationships, and I have coached many through their experiences, their marital. I've coached many businesses on relationships and what it looks like to have a powerhouse relationship energy in the workplace. And this is my passion. Yes, I'm a flight attendant by trade, but I'm a relationship coach. And yes, I have a relationship that I've personally been in for over 16 years. Yes, I'm able to say 16. We're moving into 2024, 16 years. But I also have worked extremely hard on my family relationships, my friendships, and my business relationships too. So just because I talk more about my intimate relationship, because that's more how people can relate to me, my other relationships are flexing too. And I am very passionate about that, because it's not just about the intimate ones that we often like to speak about. It is all relationships. So let me tell you a little bit about how I got started. I started with a mobile app. Okay, I was slanging quotes and information back in 2016. I've been on this Love Tank journey for a very long time now. I have a deep ambition to share love and making sure that there's positivity and a positive impact globally, so that people can kind of just get back in tune with how important relationships are. And I shifted into merchandise, things of similar to what I'm wearing now. Relationships are my biggest flex. And I've used that to kind of catapult me into coaching. And surprisingly enough, a part of my clientele are men. And I don't know if it's just something that we connect on, slanging swag, merch, and they needed some advice and they needed some relational help. But yeah, that is how I kind of segued into coaching. And I just love it. I love helping married couples. I love being a voice of reason through the storm. So a core belief of mine is making sure that I'm able to transform relationships from just an ordinary state to an extraordinary life. But a few things that I love to share is that, when I didn't really know anything about being in a relationship. I don't feel that we were often taught how to be in a relationship ultimately. I don't think that that is something that has been important to teach. And I think that a lot of times people are shown how to be in a relationship by just what they see. Some people had single households, some people had two-parent households, some people's grandparents raised them. Everybody's lifestyle on how they were raised is different. And I like to emphasize that, because I especially had a very unique upbringing. I had a village that raised me, and I still didn't really know, or was I taught how to be in a relationship. And that is no fault to anybody. This is just something that has been going on generationally. I wish somebody would have taught me how to be in a relationship. I wish somebody would have taught me how to navigate relationships instead of just relying on what I observed. Because if you rely on something that you're just observing, there is no way for you to be able to really understand when things hit the fan and what to do in certain situations. And that's why conversations and communication are lacked, because you don't know what you're doing. I've always been in survival mode. Always been in survival mode. I've been surviving since 17, 18 years old. And I share this story only because I am grateful for my experience. I was kicked out the house at 17, and all I knew is to survive. But I wasn't living. I literally was just surviving. I didn't know how to be in a relationship. And then I'm out the house trying to survive. And I share this story to be relatable because people think that because of my outer appearance, I have it all together. And that is false. I have been through I have been through things just like everybody else. I may not share everything with the world because some things I do keep private, but man, if I tell you some of the things that I've done, I had to live in all sorts of places. I'll just leave it at that. One of the main things that I didn't really know to implement is that I didn't really put God first. I missed clearly that lesson at church because I knew better because I grew up in the church, but I didn't know to put him first or call on him when I had an issue with my family. I didn't know to call on him when I had an issue with my spouse. I didn't know to call on him when I had an issue with a business partner. I didn't know to call on him when I had an issue at work. If I remember to call on him during relational issues, I'm a survival mode, so I've survived things, but I wish I would have done things differently because there would be things that I wouldn't regret. My life now, I am a motivational speaker, relationship coach. I eat, breathe, sleep Lovetank. I love flying all over the world. I have the privilege of flying and living my dream job by living my dream career, which is being a coach. I have the best of both worlds. And most people can't say that. I have the best of both worlds. Being an auntie and a godmother is one of my biggest joys. And I also make a point to ensure that I am teaching them relational intelligence, that I am putting forth the effort to make sure that they don't have to turn back and say, Auntie Nemo, how do I do this? No, they're going to know how to negate and navigate in any relationship at any point in time because it really starts at the home. It really starts with family. That's where all the relational stuff comes from. Because if you think about it, we wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for our parents. And most of the time, your childhood trauma comes from your childhood. But we're not going to stay there tonight. I have an amazing relationship with my wife. She is crazy as I am, and I have fun with her. And my most thing that I'm doing right now, and everybody's asking, like, what's your mantra for 2024? What are you doing in 2024? Family. Rebuilding my relationship with my parents is one of the main things that I continue to do and I continue to work through because one, I'm never going to be a hypocrite. And two, it's always a continuous journey. That's why I bring that up because people like to assume I have it all together. I have most things together. I have most relationships together, but nobody's perfect. Anytime you're dealing with relationships, you want to continue to make sure, thank you. You want to continue to make sure that you are always ever evolving because when somebody shifts in their relationship, then you start to want to shift. Nothing will ever stay the same. And you got to know that it's important to evolve. Excuse me, I'm just going to get some water. But tonight I'm going to teach you how to make your relationships your biggest flex with using my Lovetank method. So I'm going to teach you a few elements on how to master your relationships by using the Lovetank method. And that's kind of what we're going to go through tonight. So first things first, the art of communication, understanding and learning your communication style can improve your ability to communicate effectively with others. That is one of the most important things I can say, is that when you learn your communication style, it is so important that you keep in mind what that is for you and not force your style on somebody else, which we often like to do. My style is my style, your style is your style. How can we marry the two so that we have the ability to communicate effectively? The second method that we're going to go over tonight is living with the full tank. Now, this means something different from each individual person. But living with the full tank means living in a life that is authentic, that is purposeful, that is fulfilling. Fulfilling. It requires a commitment to self-care, self-compassion, self-discovery, and it is a journey that is well worth taking. A lot of times people don't want to take that journey. They are afraid of the ugly work. But you cannot be in any relationship and not be authentic with yourself first. Before you can be authentic in any environment, you've got to be authentic with yourself. That is what living with the full tank means. Now, I want you to think about 3 power words for you. And so living with the full tank means living with the authentic, purposeful, and fulfilling life. That is what living with a full tank means to me. But in order to become relationally intelligent in your relationship dynamic, you have to think about 3 energy words, power words that are for you. What do they mean to you so that you can make it personal to yourself? What does living with a full tank mean to you? I'm going to give you the strategies on how to live with a full tank, but I want you to make it personal, because when you make it personal, what happens is you become more ambitious around the things that you need to work on and be honest with so that you can take your relationship to the next level. Let me. Sorry, guys, just a sec. So the last method that we're going to talk about tonight is overcoming childhood traumas. Ooh, I said I was going to go easy tonight, so I'm not really going to go, what my relationship intelligence cohort is, it's deep. And people that know me, they probably be mad at me because I be too deep. But let me tell you something. It's just about that time. Tonight I'm going to go easy on you. People say I'm a hard coach. Listen, I just keep it 100 because I don't have time to play. People's lives are at stake. Relationships are at stake. I don't have time to play. I don't have time to be, the fluff and fluff just so you can feel good. I'm not here to make you just feel good. I am here to ensure that you have what you need to take your relationships, any relationship, to the next level. So when dealing with childhood traumas, we have to understand the link between our childhood traumas and the relationships and how to address them. Because there is a link between what you went through as a child, what your perception is of what you went through as a child, how that affected you as a child, and how you communicate, how you deal, how you navigate, how you move in your current relationships has everything to do with what happened to you as a child. Now, I'm not saying, sometimes our perception of things can waver. So the common misconceptions that I find is that in relationships, right? These are hilarious. Happy couples never argue. Who is that? Who is that? Anybody want to tell me? Are you that couple that doesn't argue? I'll wait. Because I know there's somebody in here that doesn't argue. Who doesn't argue in their relationship? Okay. I'll take that as a nobody. I take that as people argue, which is normal. And I'm here to tell you that arguing is normal. I don't want you to continue to get to the point where you're just so angry inside. What we're going to talk about in communication today is how to alleviate so much argument so that we can get to a solution. The next common misconception is that love is enough to sustain a relationship. Love is enough. Love is enough. That's all we need is love. And love is not enough. And another misconception is the way you were raised is the only way to be in a relationship. And let me explain what that means real quick. Hold on just a second, y'all. So love is the only way there, you know, how I was raised is the way to be in a relationship because that's how I was raised. And because I was raised that way, that's how it needs to be. And vice versa. That is a big misconception. Hashtag relationship goals on IG is the only way you can fix your relationship. Who wants to be a little honest and say that you go to hashtag relationship goals and you try to find a solution for your relationship on social media is really what I'm saying. That the misconception is that you can find a solution on social media. And you very well may have found me on social media, but the things that I do are intentional. I intentionally put myself in hashtag relationship goals, hashtag relationship intelligence, hashtag relationship, because I want people to see what is necessary for them. But I can't give you the solution all the way in a post. Does that make sense? Jealousy is a sign of love. Jealousy is a sign of love. Who knows Krishan Rock and Blueface? Because that absolutely is love, right? That's love. That's how we're all supposed to be able to navigate love. And the last misconception is that people always understand what I mean. And I know this is a big misconception because let me tell you something. If I type something in a message, in a thread, sometimes on my post, I talk the way that I type. And so what happens is people never understand. I think people misinterpret my words the most in America. Like it is the most funniest thing when people respond to me and they're like, oh, I thought you were saying this and that. And I'm like, no, let me just, so what I started to do, so there's no misinterpretation of what I'm saying or anything like that. I started to do voice memos so that people don't just, because, you know, I'm typing how I talk. So I just say it and then, oh, okay, now I get what you mean. But my goals for you all is my core values. My core values are be healed, be heard, and be loved. That's all I want. I want people to feel heard. I want them to be heard. I want you to feel love. I want you to be loved. And I want you to get healed. I want you to feel that there's a possibility for you to have the capacity to get to the point of healing. All right, y'all, here's the meat and the potatoes. So we're going to dive right into phase one, okay? And so phase one, for those who are just joining, I am on Facebook Live, I'm on Instagram Live, I'm recording, and I'm doing the presentation. So if you see me going from place to place, that is why. For those who are just joining me on Facebook and Instagram, please send me a DM so that I can get you an email of the recording because the PowerPoint is really important to this presentation. Living with a full tank. living with the full tank. So one thing about living with the full tank is living from a full tank is being able to love from an unselfish place. You have to be able to love from an unselfish place. And so I'm going to go over 4 components tonight on how to get to that. Love languages are so important. Now, you guys remember when Gary Chapman's book came out? I was all over it, y'all. That was like one of the first books I ever read, chapter books I ever read. And I think in my lifetime that I actually fully comprehended. I wasn't a reader. I always struggled with reading. So so the reason why Gary Chapman's book was even introduced to me because I was in therapy. I was in therapy personally. My wife and I were going through a hard time in our marriage and I needed help. So I started to scramble because, again, I didn't know how to be in a relationship. So even though I was kicked out when I was 17, I was still trying to figure it out. We had issues, but they weren't issues to the point where I needed therapy. I still was trying to figure it out. 2016 is really when it hit the nitty gritty and I had to do something. And it was more than just these little quotes on Instagram, hashtag relationship goals. I needed to get down to business. I needed to figure out how to be in a relationship and not just how to fix the problem. I'm going to repeat that. I needed to figure out how to be in a relationship and not just to fix the problem. So I stumbled upon Gary Chapman's book, The 5 Love Languages, changed my life. That is why my company's name is Lovetank. That is why I teach the Lovetank Method. That is why I eat, breathe, sleep, all living from a full tank. I love the 5 Love Languages. But when 5 Love Languages came out, it was all about how do you want to be loved? How do you want to be loved? How do you want to be loved? Okay, so you want to be loved like this. So that means, okay, but I want to be loved like this. So maybe I want to be loved like you want to be loved. And so I'm going to love you the way that you need to be. I'm going to love you the way that I want to love you. And I'm going to assume that's how I'm supposed to be loved. Okay. 5 love languages is knowing how you want to be loved and knowing how your partner wants to be loved. That is the 5 love languages, meaning in any capacity, meaning you're going to love them in the way that they want to be loved and should be loved. So that is knowing the love language of somebody. And then I also oppose for you to be able to the question, what other things outside of the 5 that we know that are common to us, what other things in other ways can I love you? How can I be of service to you? What does that look like for you? Can we talk about that? So this means sitting down with the person that you want to strengthen your relationship with. And that means we're starting to ask questions. Because at the time, it was just going onto the website, taking a survey, and assuming that by taking that survey, that is how they want to be loved. And that's how they should only be loved. And that's not necessarily the case. The second thing is living authentically. This is one that is so important. Authenticity is so important. It's important to be true to yourself in a relationship. And instead of trying to copy what others are doing, as I said earlier today, do what feels right to you and your partner. Do what feels right for that relationship. Okay? It's about what's right for that relationship. I'm going to teach you the strategies generally so that you have the tool belt to take out what you need. But what that sounds like and looks like for your relationship is going to be different from what you may see from your mother and father, from your aunt and uncle, from your coworkers, from mine. It's always going to be different. And one thing I always want you to keep in mind is that authenticity has to be throughout all of your relationships. Because once you start working on one, you're going to be so fired up that you're going to want to work on other relationships. But do what I promise you, the best thing you could ever do and be true to your guys' self is making sure that you do it and do what's right for you all. Not what you see from other couples, not what you see from other parent, daughter, mother, sister, cousin relationships. Do what's right for you. And the third thing is live freely. Living freely with an open mind, embracing love in all its forms, and being willing to unlearn that old stuff, our old habits, to learn the new ways and new strategies so that you can strengthen your relationship is what I mean by live freely, which is very hard for us today. It's like society is coming against the like living and being okay with unlearning things. You have to be okay with unlearning things. Unlearning things are okay. And it's okay to say, oh man, I learned something that didn't serve me. So let me figure out a new way, because maybe your ex, maybe your father, maybe your aunt, you've seen something over there, they taught you something over there, whoever raised you, and they may have thrown out a few things that don't serve you now. It's okay to learn new ways between whomever you're trying to build that new relationship foundation with. It's okay. And for some reason, it's like all over the internet that we cannot unlearn and relearn, which is like crazy to me. All right, there is no I in team. I am all about a power couple in whatever facet that is. There is no I in team. I could not be here tonight without my team. I didn't, I created the PowerPoint, but my wife edited for me. I am the one speaking, but she's the one who put the camera on. I have my sister in here as a co-host moderator. Like, I can't do anything by myself solely. My relationships have to have a good foundation so that everything can run smoothly. They do their part to help me so that I can teach and serve. Now, when it comes to your intimate relationships, you think that, okay, this is what happens. You think that certain people are power couples. A power couple is relationally intelligent, respectfully, period. They are relationally intelligent. They are living from a full love tank. And that means that both partners are emotionally invested into the relationship and committed to do the work at any point in given time that there is work to be had. They're willing. It's not, it's not you cheated on me, so I'm going to go pray about it. I'm going to fast and I'm going to go do this work on my own. And I'm just going to, no, both parties have to be willing to do the work. Now, the work may look different because the husband may not be the one fasting. He may getting some other work done, but both people have to be emotionally invested in order for it to work. You both have to be emotionally invested to be a power couple. You want power, you want increase, you want to be able to flex your relationship from the state of being able to go on trips and have all this money. But what is your relationship hitting like? What happens after that trip and you go home and you guys aren't even talking to each other? Y'all just looking at each other, looking through Instagram, seeing what photo to post. How is that beneficial? That doesn't make you relationally intelligent because you have a lot of money. That just shows how much you're suffering inside. Both have to be committed to work. Any questions? I'm going to stop here for a second. Any questions about living with the full tank? Five love languages, living authentically, live freely, and being a power couple. Those are just 4. I'm just giving you an app. You know, like an appetizer? I'm giving you the app. That's all I'm giving you. Just a little taste. Just a little taste. That's it. Can't give you the how, but I'm going to give you the app in the appetizer. So my question to you, I want you to think about this for just a moment. I want you to sit and think about this just a moment. If you are not on your phone, you can take a picture of it. Take a picture, tag me. My Instagram is at @LiveLoveTank. If you need to see it, this is what it looks like right here, at @LiveLoveTank. I want to know, is your relationship living with a full tank? Is your relationship living with the full tank? And you don't have to answer that. I want you to think about that. Write that question down right now in your notes app. If you have a Google phone, I don't know what kind of app you have to write in, but I'm pretty sure you have a notes app. Write it down. Is your relationship living in a full tank? Now, mind you, whatever relationship, and there is one, trust me, there is a relationship that you have questions about, that you are trying to navigate, that you're trying to understand, that is severed. There's a relationship that you set a boundary with because you just got so fed up because you didn't want to try anymore. You just didn't know what to do. You and your spouse are just at it all the time and you have no answers. You're just really trying to figure out. And what I ask this only because I really truly want you to identify, is your relationship living from a full tank? Is it truly living from a full tank? And this is for you to do privately. You know, we always have questions. We always write affirmations. This is something that I really want you to think about. Okay. And along with that task, I want you to write your 3 power words on what living with a full tank looks like. And send that to me. Send that to me in a DM, send that to me in an email. I will write my email here. I want to email it to me. Boop, if you can put that on the Facebook for me, the email it to me. I want to pray over it. I want to pray over your relationship. I need to know specifics. I can't be out here praying willy-nilly. I need something to pray over. I have hired a prayer warrior to help me with praying over my people. You can't master your relationships if you haven't mastered loving yourself. Most of the time when we have relationship issues, it's always about pointing the finger and blaming the other person. But what about you? Do you love yourself? Have you been loving yourself? Have you forgot about yourself? Loving yourself is something that is very complex because everybody has an opinion on what that looks like. And it always looks different for each individual person. It's not the same for everybody. And so we know for a fact if we truly have been loving ourselves or not. And so what I want you to think about is that you can't really catapult your relationship to the next level if you truly have not been loving yourself. So living with a full tank, if you are not living with the full tank, these are some of the things. First of all, do the work when nobody is watching. It's not about publicizing all of your, we love to do that as a culture. We love to just, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. People don't do the work when nobody's watching, like seriously. It's okay to do things privately. People private these days? I don't think people are private these days. Hold on just a sec. But do the work when nobody is watching. So if you do not live with a full tank or don't utilize this method in your relationship, you will stay in a toxic relationship, unhealthy relationship, and you literally will yield no positive outcomes. You don't want this to be you, because right now what's going on social media is promoting toxic relationships, and that's what we're seeing. And what happens is these toxic relationships, unconsciously, they are coming into your world. You don't even know it. You start thinking about it, you start talking about it, you start talking to your girlfriends about it, you start talking to the homies about it, and what happens? It starts to fester, and you're like, oh, where did this come from? I never really had this energy. That energy of anger, that energy of toxic can seep in. You don't have to be an empath for that to happen. Next, if you don't possess relational intelligence, your progress in building relationships will remain stagnant. There will be no progress for you. If you do not possess relationship intelligence, your progress in building relationships will remain stagnant. You'll start to see, oh, this happened in my last relationship. Yep. This happened in my, oh, I've seen, you will not acknowledge it because for some reason women do not have they just don't hold themselves accountable. You have the same, well, I noticed the same issues in multiple relationships, even myself, my mouth. That was my problem. My mouth was my problem. And I keep getting left over one after the other. And what was the issue? Me. If you start to see the same pattern, that stagnant energy, you start to see the same pattern, and you have to reflect and look at yourself. But the issue was I was unhealed and I didn't love myself because I literally was just trying to survive. I was trying to survive in every environment that I existed in. I was not relationally intelligent. This can cause a cycle of unresolved issues stemming from your past. And this goes how we're going into childhood trauma, our last method. That is what it stems from. It is literally coming from your past. And it will continue. That generational cycle, that generational trauma, it'll continue over and over and over again. If you're not willing to do the work, somebody has to be the one to break the generational cycle. It has to be you. It has to be you. Let me check the chat. All right. I'm going to say this. I wish Instagram could see my posts. Let me tell y'all something. These two right here, these two, yes, I added them in my PowerPoint. Yes, I added them in my PowerPoint because I am so tired of our culture being stuck on relationships that have no relevance. They are in the limelight, and I feel like people like this have a duty to make sure that they are keeping our Black and brown people together. That is not the case. You will start following the lead of these two and many others, because I could have literally blasted all of these celebrities on this PowerPoint. This will be your reality if you do not become relationally intelligent. I'm not saying you're going to tattoo your spouses on your face or anything like that. I hope not. But what I'm saying is, this is the energy that is festering on social media. This is what you and your spouse see. This is what you and your family see. These are the relationships that we're talking about, which is so unfortunate. You don't ever see on social media anything positive. You don't see many, and if you do see a positive relationship, there is somebody on there that is in the comments trying to drag it down. And that is our culture. And it just has to stop. The art of communication as we proceed. So phase 2, The art of communication, which is my ultimate favorite. Do you know your communication style? So that's the first thing. I want you to jot down this question. Do you know your communication style? Communication styles, by understanding each other's communication style. So when I mean each other, what I'm referring to is whomever you're communicating with. Whomever you're communicating with, do you know their style? Most of us don't, which is okay. I just want you to start to focus on learning your communication style. What happens is if we don't know our own communication style, you start to project on the person that you're communicating with, which causes an argument. You start to project on whoever you're communicating with, which starts an argument. But if you understand each other's communication style, that brings your partner and increases your clarity and deepens your conversation. Do you know statistically, couples have the hardest time communicating about anything? It's almost like they're embarrassed about having honest conversations. This is the person you lay with. This is the person you claim to love. This is the person you've married. This is the person that your heart beats for, you have children with, but you're afraid, scared, embarrassed to have hard conversations or have conversations in general that would benefit your relationship. When you learn the communication styles, what happens is it makes it easier because you'll start communicating in your way and you'll be more mindful about their style. And when you're more mindful about their style, then it allows for your whole world starts to open up. And so in my program, this is something that I teach you. We go over the communication styles. We teach directly on that topic. Before we even go anywhere else, you will know your communication style. And that's how you're going to learn communication based on your style. And so this helps any relationship. I'm not saying you're going to go out and have to learn. The most important ones are your intimate relationships, the ones that you want to focus on, the ones you want to work on. But it's important to know their style so that you have the ability to be able to have an impactful conversation with them. Because the whole point of having a conversation, especially a hard conversation, is to yield a result. We need to have a result. The second pillar in this method is coming from a place of love. It's important to remember that when you're upset, the person that you're communicating with is somebody that you love. You can't ever forget that. You always have to remember that is somebody I love, so that you have the ability to get through the conversation. You always have to have that in the back of your mind. And somebody asked me recently at the vision board event where I was a speaker, is what is the main out of all my clients, what do I see often? And so this is the truth. What I'm seeing often is that people are not coming from a place of understanding. People are not even willing to understand somebody else. They only want to be understood. You only want to be understood. So what happens is you're not willing to understand anybody else. It's about me. It's about how I was raised. It's about what I think. It's about my theories and philosophies. And that's not the case. You have to get into a place where you have good judgment, where you have forgiveness, and become open-minded to the differences that people carry. Because we're all different cultures, different religions, different shapes, different sizes, different colors, different thoughts, different some people wear wing eyeliner, some people don't wear eyeliner. I mean, there's so many differences, and we're so colorful, we're so complex that we should be able to be comfortable so that we can communicate properly. And you have to be understanding. And the main thing that comes to me when I'm talking about understanding is you have to be able to really, 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 you cannot, the healing portion of your childhood traumas cannot happen if you do not master the art of communication. The reason why this step is before the next is for a reason, because you have to know that you have to come from a place of understanding. And how you get there is by having a conversation around whom, where, and how and where somebody else came from. Because most of the time, our issues stem from, again, our childhood traumas. And what happens is, if you're not I have so much grace for people when it comes to why things happen the way that they did, how things happen. And the reason is because I have to understand, oh, this person talks this way because somebody that is generational. This is learned behavior. This is not, this is bad learned behavior, but this is learned behavior. Oh, they operate that way because they weren't hugged. I have to think and put myself in there. You know the saying, put yourself in their shoes, but you literally have to put yourself in their shoes, in their space, in their mindset, and understand where somebody came from and the why. So most of the time we are adopting characteristics and our baggage from our parents. But where do they get it from? Sometimes you have to think like, they didn't really know any better. They only could give us what they had access to. So now that we're in a new era in life, we think in this era. So you see oftentimes where it's hard for the older generation to understand our era, but it's hard for us to understand their era. Now, they didn't have as much access as we do. So we start to judge and start to contemplate, oh, well, that was traumatic for me because you're thinking from your era eyes. You're not thinking from their era eyes. You're just thinking from where you are and what you have access to. But they didn't have the same access to us. They didn't have the same books as us. They didn't have the same resources as us. So what they gave you is all they knew. And I'm not taking away from what any of you have gone through. I just want you to think from a different era, and I want you to think from a different place, and I want you to understand why it's so important to start to navigate a place of understanding, because it will do you a service to help you heal and to help you break down those generational curses and really be able to navigate your healing. It just gives you a new perspective, a fresh perspective of how you can really heal. And the last thing is find your flow. Okay. It is so important to make sure that you're able to flow. Take breaks, use I statements when communicating, avoid blame as hard as that may be. As hard as that may be, try to avoid the blame, listen, and practice empathy. Being empathetic can take you a long way. So I want to show you guys this. I hope you can see it. This is some things that you will see when it comes to communication styles. So one thing are meta messages. Now, I'm not going to go deep into meta messages because this was a part of my Power of Conversation workshop. If you missed it, you will have access to it if you sign up for the program. But meta messages are kind of like a perception of talk. It is you insinuating something. You're insinuating something, but you mean something else, but you're saying it in a way that's kind of nice, nasty, but you're trying to prove a point in the way that you're communicating. And this is something that we absolutely need to get rid of, meta messages. So there's a social meaning of communication style, and then there's the actual meaning of a communication style, and then there's your style. And so the process is pretty much like what works and what doesn't work, which is trial and error. Sometimes people would assume that your style is one way, but you have to navigate that for yourself. And then you kind of have to practice through what works for your relationship and how to use different and analyze that, like really analyze, okay, well, this conversation was south, so I'm going to have to try it a different way. And in the program, like when I go through communication, I really hone in on the meta messages and how to kind of stop doing that and what other things you can say so that you can flip it, so you can kind of eliminate that out of your vocabulary. You'd be surprised how much we use it. All right, y'all, take a screenshot of this. Take a screenshot of this. and post it. You have to get to a point where your communication with your partner becomes the priority. Has to become the priority. It has to become practice. You have to practice communication, as uncomfortable as it may be. You have to practice and make it a priority. So, how to have hard conversations. These are 4 things that you can do tonight and use. So, take a screenshot of this. How to have hard conversations. Understanding. I am big on understanding. I am not going to let up on understanding. Always speak from a place of understanding. Always. Always, always, always. And relax. Because when we're having a hard conversation, our guard is up, our these little neck muscles, they're flexed, and you're tense. And I get it because I've been there, but you have to try to relax. Having a hard conversation with relaxed energy is more helpful, and it'll help you get to that flow. So remember when I was talking about having that flow? You have to in order to have that flow, you have to make sure that you relax, because the flow will just be out of whack if you do not relax. Focus. I want you to make sure, whomever you're talking to, that you are making sure that you stay focused and respectful throughout the conversation. You have to make sure that you're focused, and that when you're listening, if you have I have a hard time always remembering things. So I am the one that has to jot down things so that I can remember, because if you're talking to me, I'm just not going to remember. I literally have to be responsible and focus on that task of writing it down. And if you have to write it down, write it down. Don't be ashamed. I mean, I'm getting to a point where I have to not be ashamed with using my tablet when I speak, or reading things off my PowerPoint, or having notes, because I'm just honest about where my brain is and my memory. It's just not the best. And I want to make sure that I remember what people are saying. That's important, because it takes a lot for somebody to have a hard conversation. So when you get them talking, it's important to stay focused on what they're saying so that they can get their point across, and then you're actually getting to the next thing, solution. Seek to find solutions, and don't end the conversation without one. A lot of times, especially in our families, what we love to do is sweep stuff under the rug and hang up the phone, don't talk for 3 weeks, and then think that, oh, okay, I'm going to talk again. No, that's not how this works. As hard as it may be, as ugly and you may feel dragged, or vice versa, you have to go through the hard conversation to get to the solution. You have to hear each other out. You have to literally lay out everything respectfully so that you have the ability to really have a solution, because that's the whole point of having a conversation. I am so tired of families fighting and not finding a solution. Like, most families do that. That's how they communicate, laughing it off, not talking for years. And then all of a sudden you want to talk again. And it's like, but wait. You can't do that with me. Trust and believe. I may not talk to you based on my boundary, but we are going to get back to the conversation, because I have to have a solution. Because just because years have gone past, I have forgotten how I felt about it, but there is no solution. I still remember what happened. So you have to make sure that you seek solutions so that you can have an end result. If you don't implement the art of communication, conversations will lack direction. You literally will be all over the place. You will be sitting there with your hands shrugged, just like her, and you will have no direction. You'll be irritated. You will walk away. You may be the one who doesn't talk for years because there's no direction with your conversations. Impactful points may not be conveyed because you're not organized, you weren't focused, you're going from one thing to the next. And this is normal, right? This happens. If you're not organized, conversations and building relationships are so taboo for families and so taboo for people that we don't think, because if this was school, I bet you would be writing notes. If this was class, if you were trying to get a degree, I bet you that you would be making sure that you and your partner that's working on the project are having an impactful conversation so you can get an A. Why is not that the same energy when it comes to our relationships? Why are our relationships the last thing that gets love? Why are our relationships the last thing that gets important, focus, in intentional energy when it comes to things that we need to fix? Opportunities for resolution will be missed. Not may, will. They will be missed. Any questions about the art of communication? Any questions about the art of communication? All right, let's go forward. I respect your time. And because I started late, I want to make sure that I end close to time. So we're almost done. The last phase we're going to talk about is overcome childhood trauma. You hear that? Childhood is so hood, right? It's so ghetto. Ooh, childhood trauma is crazy. There's freedom in what you let go. I had the opportunity to do a live video today. And, people like to ask me questions and they kind of like to pick my brain because I'm a different type of coach. I'm a different type of person when it comes to how I deal with trauma. And a lot of people respect, what I've had to realize is that people are not me. And that's why I started teaching and training in a way that I'm able to help people where they are and I'm not saying that you need to do things exactly the way that I do things. I share with you things that the majority that have worked for me. Yes. And I share things that are beneficial to the majority. So, disclaimer, the way that I move and think about trauma is different from most people. I do not live based off of my trauma. I acknowledge the fact that there was trauma in very different ways, and I just don't live off of it. I'm not, oh, I created this because of my trauma. That's just not me. I definitely took me a while to get to the point to be able to say I have healed from trauma or I've healed from things that have happened. I just don't define my life based off of it. I truthfully am thankful for the things that I've gone through because I would not be who I am today. I wouldn't have the theories and the thoughts and the practices that I have today. I wouldn't be able to be on this screen and talk to you about how you can take trauma and literally have it amplify your life. That is how I like to teach trauma. Do we acknowledge, do we go through the ugliness of it? Yes. But first, you need to heal. And that is the first thing that is imperative to do when you're dealing with your childhood trauma. You need to heal. Now, granted, the first step is acknowledging that healing needs to take place. You have to go through the whole entire framework in order to know that you actually arrived to become relationally intelligent and that the healing has taken place. But the first thing you need to do is acknowledge that healing needs to be done and that you're going to manifest and you're going to do the work to get you through to fully heal. Because there's people in this world that have gone 70, 80 years and have not healed. There are people that I know today that have not healed. And some people don't want to. And I'm not here to push that on you. But childhood trauma, overcoming that is absolutely what we have to do. How dare you be in a relationship unhealed? How dare you have children unhealed? How dare we think that we are equipped to be in a relationship, to love somebody fully, and we're unhealed, which 99% of us have, because I sure have. I was very much unhealed when I got into my relationship, very much unhealed. How dare I do that to her? Like, who did I think I was? But when you unlearn and start to relearn and rebuild your foundation, you can rebuild your foundation in the same relationship that you're in going into healing. Second thing, calm your nervous system. calm your nervous system. I remember my hairstylist telling me, "Whoo, Jasmine, your nervous system is off." And I was so grateful for her saying to me, my nervous system was off. I really needed to hear that. You just don't know how much your memory, how much your lifestyle, how much that we think that we're doing that is self-help for us can affect our nervous system. Your nervous system is affected by your past memories. It is affected by your childhood trauma, and you have to let that go and you have to sever that in order for you to go through your healing process. There's no way to do that if you do not calm your nervous system. Now, ways that you can do that is by grounding yourself, and there's a variety of different ways that we can talk about calming your nervous system, and each thing that I recommend trying everything and find what works for you. I'm not here to tell you to take your socks off and go walk around on God's green grass to calm your nervous system, or laying in the sun. Those things work, but they may not work for you. I'm not saying that you may need a detox and only do a raw vegan diet. That may work for people. I have tried everything and I know what works for me. And remember, new traumas happen. So when new traumas happen, this method, these strategies help you when new things arise, because we're human. Life is always lifing, and things will arise, and you will have to go back to these strategies and use them at different aspects of when things happen, like death. That is a big one that we, it arises, or it amplifies our nervous system at times in our life. And you may have to do that because you'll start going through that memory lane, and then it'll start affecting your nervous system. So again, my point is, what you will have things that you're tried, and you continue to be tried, because that's life and we can't control life. But what we can control are our strategies and what we learn to be able to navigate life. Pray. I cannot stress this enough. There is so much power in prayer. When you think it's been too long to let it go, but God, it's never too long. Say goodbye to that hurt little girl, hurt little boy. Say goodbye to her. I need you to write yourself a letter. I need you to write yourself a letter, and I need you to write yourself a letter to her or him. Now, the best thing to do is to tackle each individual thing one at a time. Whatever that main pain point is, whatever that main pain point may be, write it down, let it go. That is the best thing that you can do for yourself. And that's the start. You tackle things little by little. You do not overwhelm yourself and do everything all at once, because doing the work can be very overwhelming. And what happens is, when you're too overwhelmed, you stop doing the work. That's just reality. I don't want people to stop doing the work. I want people to continue on the grind. And the last thing is, stop ignoring red flags. When you don't deal with your past, you are the red flag. When you don't deal with your past, you are that red flag. You know how people are posting green flags, red flags? No, you are the red flag, because you entered into a space, you entered into a relationship knowing that there could potentially be a soul tie, but this is what you wanted. This is what you wanted to do. And then you become the red flag. Trauma is one of the most powerless and isolating experiences a person can go through in life. It's important to remember that the effects of trauma are not a choice, and that healing is possible. So although it's not our choice to go through trauma, the healing is our choice. It is our choice to heal, and that is our right. That is our God-given right. That is our birthright. That is our birthright to heal. It is time for you to start thinking differently, and it's time for you to really hone in on how you have the capacity to truly navigate your healing process, and you do it for you. You know the saying where they say you forgive people, not for them, but for you? It's the same. This is your birthright. You heal for yourself and for everybody else in a sense, because your relational intelligence starts to increase. You start to think different. You start to move different. You start to love different. All of that comes into play. I fought to rid myself from my childhood trauma so that I can sit here and smile today. I did everything in my power to make sure that I was not defined, nor was I living based on the things that I went through. Now, have I been through some traumatic things? Yes. Ultimately, when I look back in my childhood, though, there are more positive things that I can sit here and talk about that are so much more important than the things that were traumatic. If you outweigh the, and that's what we're kind of getting away from. We focus so much on the negative things that we can forget the positive things. I am truly blessed for COVID, because when I started to go back to my hometown, I started to see pictures. I started to see where I grew up. I started to remember all of the great things, all of the goodness that I experienced in my childhood. And I know I probably talked about this before, but trauma bonds are real. I had a trauma bond with my hometown because of one experience, one thing that almost destroyed me because of my thought around it, because of, I mean, it was painful, yes, but I couldn't stay there. I couldn't stick in and stay there. And I thought I've done all this healing until I realized I had a trauma bond. And I was able to break that down and increase my healing process through getting rid of this trauma bond. And I'm so grateful for COVID, because it allowed me to really see past some of the traumatic things that happened so that I can see the positive things that happened in my childhood. And I really recommend that for you. Looking at pictures can, we're so into what we're dealing with, like our life now, that we often forget about all of the goodness. And I want to spark memories in you guys to make sure that you are remembering some of the good things that have happened to you so that you can also start to smile again. It's time to walk into your healing. It's time to live based on your healing and not off your trauma. It's time for you to use your birthright and make sure that you maintain your healing. So if you do not work on your childhood trauma, you will live in a way of unhealthy codependency, because you or your partner will be codependent on one another, and you both will remain unhealed, and you both will lack relationship intelligence. Your relationships will continue to suffer because you haven't healed from it. Whatever relationship, there is always another relationship that has caused you to be who you are in the current relationship. Now, it does not mean intimate to intimate. It can mean anything. It came from somewhere. And lastly, you'll miss out on your healing because you're not willing to do the work. This is my biggest gripe with people. People do not want to do the work. They do not want to invest in themselves. They do not want to take it to the next level. They're afraid of taking it to the next level. And they're really afraid of what the healing might reveal to them. And I'm here to tell you, some things that were revealed to me were scary, but I am so grateful that I took the initiative to do the work, because that is where you're really able to find the true transformation, not off of these hoorah-rah motivational speakers that, make you feel away and you do the work for 1 or 2 days, you keep thinking about that great song, you keep thinking about that good sermon. No, listen, the work is not easy. And I'm not going to lie to kick it and say that it is. It is not easy, but it is beneficial. It is life changing. Once you do the hard work once, you won't have to continue to do the hard work. You will continue to have to do work in your relationships, but it won't be as hard because you'll have your tool belt. Woo! Them three methods, boy. But anyway, so today you learned how to apply a fraction, really an app of the appetizer of relationship intelligence within the Love Tank method. So tonight we went over living with the full tank, understanding and learning how communication styles can improve your ability to communicate effectively with others. We learned about the art of communication and to really love somebody in that communication, and the effort that you put in maintaining the relationship can be rewarding in the long run, because it's really a long game here, folks. Like, this relationship stuff is a long game. It is not going to happen overnight. You can do things and start working on things tonight, but it's not going to happen overnight. You do have to practice. You do. And once you start practicing, you start realizing how naturally it comes to you to do the work. But it's a long game. It is something that you really truly have to be invested in if you really want to change the dynamic of your life, not just the one relationship that you thought you signed up for this workshop, this masterclass for. No, it is for all of your relationships. And lastly, overcoming childhood trauma. Maintaining a smooth flow to facilitate and find a solution with whomever caused the trauma, and truly forgive them, and truly trying to find a solution and what that may bring so that you can truly find healing. Now, I know you showed up because you wanted to master your relationships, and you're fed up with, and you're finally ready to just really take that step, right? It takes most people decades to gain relationship intelligence, or it takes people a lifetime and they'll never learn relationship intelligence. They will continue to live on this earth and not know how to master their relationships. They won't know how to do the work. They won't know how to be in relationship, because the reality is most people are not taught how to be in relationships. And that's really so sad to me, that we focus on so many other things but that. So you would lack relationship communication. Other areas of your life are affected by relationship issues. I took these directly from your intake forms. These are exactly what has been said to me, that this is where you are. Aspects of your relationship are toxic and unhealthy. Vulnerability scares you, and you're to the point where you shut down. You don't have any communication. You don't have the ambition or the to do anything different. You can't get past this hump, and it's preventing you from getting to the next level. And where you want to be is, you want to live in a space of healthy dialogue. You want to control all of your relationships in a way that you can become relationally intelligent. You want to be happy, and you want to remove these limiting beliefs. These are the things that you want. You want to live in your inner power. You want to feel that a realness in your relationships, and you want to move forward and extend into a healthy relationship. So I want to introduce to you, this is the reason why I created relationship intelligence, which is my baby. In 90 days, you can gain healthier relationship. It's the same framework that all of my successful clients have used. They have utilized the Lovetank method. I have utilized the Lovetank method, not just on my intimate relationships, but for what people don't know, I have utilized the Lovetank method in my personal and family relationship so that I can get those relationships to the next level. Those have also gone through the Lovetank method. So introducing you to a 12-week coaching program that will start March 6th. My door opens today, open cart opens today. You have the opportunity to apply to be in this cohort. It's not just something that I offer to just anybody. I do take applications. I do want to ensure that we are a good fit for one another when working with me. I want to make sure that this is something that is meant for you and that you and I could work together for 12 weeks. I mean, it is a group coaching program. A lot of people ask me about the individual coaching, which I do offer. So that would be something that we would have to have a call about and talk about privately. But yeah, so to help you maintain relationships and really get you through any of your relationship issues that you're facing is what relationship intelligence is, teaching you how to make your relationship your biggest flex by using the Lovetank method. I want people to be proud of their relationships. I want people to be able to flex their relationships, not from a materialistic standpoint, but from a loving standpoint. I want people to really understand that there is hope, that you have the capacity. So let me kind of go over what the Lovetank method is. So this is love, if you can't tell, LOVE. So you'll be learning in this order. You'll be learning the method. And so this is what it consists of. So the first thing is L, living with the full tank, where, what can life look like for you when you live with the full tank or live from a full tank? Overcoming your childhood traumas, specifically attacking those childhood traumas and to detach you from your generational cycles. Vocalizing your boundaries, gain techniques in setting your boundaries, not feeling bad about those boundaries in your relationships, and what boundaries and how they correlate and what that looks like in your relationships in a healthy way. Most people set a boundary, leave them alone. No, we're going to learn the techniques and how to set appropriate boundaries for your life. And one of my favorites is extracting the ego. I want you to be able to chase the skills and not the relationship. I want you to focus on the skill sets and not the relationship, and to learn how to extract your ego and what that looks like, and how we can kind of use that to our benefit to make sure that we're able to sustain healthy relationships. And the next portion is tank. So we had love, and this is tank. So love tank as a whole. You'll learn the power of communication, learn the art of conversations with tools to master your communication. And again, going back to communication styles, meta messages, things like that. I want you to learn how to awaken your intimacy. Find that fire again and keep it lit, and learn levels to intimacy. There are so many levels of being intimate. It's not just what you think, all aspects of being able to awaken that intimacy, and how to implement meditation between you and who you are trying to revive that relationship with. And I want you to navigate the BS, okay? You heard me right, navigate the BS, right? Because there is a lot of it when it comes to relationships. I want you to gain techniques in how to face the BS that is thrown your way, and to be able to negate some by having this method, and be able to navigate, like I said a little bit earlier. And I want you to keep that same energy, okay? I want you to keep that same energy, keep your relationship intelligence alive and pay it forward, but also keep it going, because you will be faced, the reality is you will be faced with more issues. It's really about using this method to be able to fully negate and navigate and really take your relationship from ordinary to extraordinary. Okay, so I'm offering, so the Lovetank method, 8-method curriculum. This is relationship intelligence. I usually offer this at 10,000. That is what everything is consists of. But I want you to be able to really take something from this today. And I'm realistic. Clearly, we're in a different stage in life right now, right? We can't, the things that we can afford in the past, we may not be able to necessarily afford all of that today, but you will get the fast action bonus. You will be able to utilize the relationship detox course, which I highly recommend this is something that you have to do before you start working with me. Like the relationship detox course is A1. And so you definitely get that ability. You get a free one-on-one session with me, 60-minute strategy session. This is a breakthrough session. You have the ability to, in this session, you only get one. You get one session, one private session where we actually go over a strategy for your specific relationship. Because remember, the cohort is for all aspects of relationship. I am going through the Lovetank Method so you could become relationally intelligent. But this strategy session is fire because this strategy session allows you to really be able to focus on one relationship, and we create a whole strategy around it. And that's what you use for that by using the Lovetank Method for this specific relationship. Okay. And you also get a Slack group. We go through a Slack group, which for those who don't know Slack, you have the ability to ask me on the go questions. You're able to ask me relational questions about your specific relationship, and I'm able to kind of chit chat with you. You do have access to a Facebook community group where we're able to, we all, because you will have homework. Okay. We will have work that we need to do. You'll go through that work. You'll have a 12-week coaching program where all of these are live. So similar to what we went through tonight, but a little bit deeper, a little bit, everybody will be on the face, everybody's face will be up. We'll be going through the content together. It's not something that you have to do alone. I will be on the calls with you. I will be answering your questions live. We'll be going through the content live. 12 weeks. This is every Wednesday starting March 6th at 7 p.m. Every Wednesday starting March 6th. I'm very understanding of that. A lot of my people they're all over. So they're in Cali, they're in the West Coast. Some are not in the US, so I have to be very mindful about the time. So 7 p.m. is a great time for, people that have kids getting off of work, etc. And so if you sign up within the next 24 hours, you'll get the power of conversation because you stayed until the end. You have the ability to, of course, have relationship intelligence, the 12-week group coaching experience. You also get the fast action bonuses, which is the relationship detox course. You also have the ability to have that 60-minute strategy relationship session. It's really a relationship audit. It's specifically for your relationship that you are having issues with or having trouble with and need immediate assistance, need immediate help. Okay. So, and also one thing I also want to offer is because, I am so passionate about relationships. I really want people to really get into the program, and I really want people to benefit. I'm not going to hoorah you the whole 12 weeks. We are here to do work. We are literally here to get your relationship to the next level, period. Like, I'm not playing any games. Like, I cannot stress this enough, how important it is, because our relationships are under attack. Yes, you have to invest because, it's important but it's also something that you need. So if you sign up tonight within the next 24 hours only, you will have $15, Jesus, $1,500 off your group coaching session. And your total investment will be $2,500 if it's paid in full in the next 24 hours. So to be quite honest with you, I'm only accepting 10 clients. I want to make sure that it is intimate. I want to make sure that this cohort is strategic to the needs that the people that have been reaching out to me, that have been in my DMs, that have been needing help, that have been wanting a solution. I'm only accepting 10 clients. And of course, like I said before, this is something that you have to apply for. It's not something like you just pay in full and I'm going to accept your application. No, this is something that you have to apply for. I want to make sure it's the right people in, in this group, in this setting, in that we are right for each other. It is so difficult for people to talk about their relational issues. It's so hard for people to say, hey, I'm struggling, I need help. I respect that so much. I respect that. I wish that I had something like this when I was going through my issues, because honestly, I would have got a divorce. Like, I am so grateful that I took the initiative to invest in myself and do the research myself so that nobody else has to feel like I felt when I was going through my issues and I had nowhere to turn. So I want to respect the people that are applying and that are going to be a part of this relationship intelligence cohort so that they can get what they need out of it. And it's not so many people at one time. So I'm only accepting 10 clients. So for the group setting. So again, you'll get the 8 method curriculum. You'll get the private Facebook community. This is only for people that are signing up for the program. You'll get the 12 week group coaching sessions that are live, I'm not giving you a program and you have to figure it out. No, it is live. You'll also get the 60-minute coaching session, strategy session with me. And you'll also get the Slack group, which I'm excited to incorporate because people are able to kind of just like text me. And I'm gonna get off of live because they're not on the thing. So I want to make sure that if you're on here, I'm sorry, but there's just some of these special offers that are just for people that actually signed up for the group. So thank you for joining. So I just wanted to, for the people that actually signed up for the masterclass, that's not accessible for everybody else. I just want to make sure that you understand that there are some of this stuff is just for you. So the $1,500 off paid in full is only for the people that are on the masterclass. You get the relationship detox course, you get the Slack group, you get the Facebook community private access, and you also get the Power of Conversation playbook. This is a lot of stuff, that I'm really surprised that my team and I decided to do, but I'm just like, listen, relationships are under attack. Lord, use me. What can I do? How can I help? What can I give? Now, if this is something that you can't do in full, you do have other options. If you need other options, please don't hesitate to ask. Please don't hesitate to ask. I am willing to work with you so that you can get what you need. If you need a payment plan, here is a payment option. But if you need something more, please make sure that you ask me. Send me a message, send me a DM. So that's all that you get tonight. The link is here, and I hope one of my team members are going to add the link in the chat so that you guys can click on the link and go through it. Again, enrolling tonight, you won't have access until March 6th. So that first call, March 6th, is going to be our intake call. We're going to, just like a regular intake call, making sure we introduce ourselves, set the expectations for the 12 weeks. So that is an addition to. I want to make sure I get to know everybody, that I know everybody by name, that I have the ability to make sure that I'm here to serve you. I am here to serve you. Ultimately, that's what I'm here to do. So you're only one click away, so you don't want to miss out transforming your life. You don't want to miss out on mastering communication and intimacy and learning all the things that you need to learn to thrive and become relationally intelligent. Let me just add this to the chat real quick so that you guys have access to it. Give me just 1 second. And please, if you have any questions, please go ahead and pop those questions in now so that I can answer any questions that you guys might have. How are you guys feeling? Does anybody have any questions for me? Okay, so here's the link. Give me just a second. Okay, so here's the link. Just add the application link. Thank you, Jazz. Thanks for joining. So good to see you. Thank you, Boot, for adding that. But the best investment that you can make in anything is in yourself. And just like compounding interest, it accrues over time. And I think a lot of times that we just kind of get away from like how we can really invest and what that looks like. And it's scary. And I totally get that. But you have what it takes. You can shift your relationship with literally just a click of a button and doing the work. Here's some common questions that people ask. If you guys had any questions or didn't feel comfortable asking any questions, these are some of the common questions that people ask and kind of want to know about the cohort and what the program looks like. So it's 90-minute session, 12 weeks. So each session will be 90 minutes for 12 weeks, including that one additional session where we do the intake. And then I just want to thank you. I want to thank everybody for coming. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry I started late. I had some technical issues, but I just want to thank everybody for joining. And if you have any questions or want to reach out to me directly, please don't hesitate to do so, because I am definitely a very much open person. So please ask me anything you like. And I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. I hope you guys remember those questions that I asked earlier. Send me an email about your letter, what things that you want to shift, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. I look forward to seeing you March 6th. Let's get this work. Let's shift our relationships from ordinary to extraordinary and make them our biggest flex. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Good night, guys. Thanks so much for joining. You guys have a wonderful evening. Bye.